Hey guys, hope everyone's alright. I'm just out here chilling in a field on a cloudy but very warm day. Today I'm starting a new podcast which is going to be based on video game franchises. So we're sort of going to choose a franchise every week. Leave comments in what ones you'd like to be done. So I'm just going to start off with Just Cause today. And yeah, we're going to go through each of the Just Cause games and sort of see what they did well and what they didn't do well. Basically just have a discussion of the pros and cons and what they can improve on really to make their game bigger and better. So yeah, I started off with Just Cause because it's a game that started well and it dropped off. So there's obviously four installments, and it's obviously dropped off on the third and the fourth one really. So yeah, the first one started off in 2006, September 22nd, I believe. Is obviously launched on the PS2 and Xbox 360. It missed the PS3 launch, so well, it was before the PS3 launch, which was a strange one, but there you go. And it sort of created a new open world that I hadn't experienced before, really. So it was obviously a sandbox game, and you do whatever you want first and whatnot. And it was the first game to do different like stunts in the open world, whereas like you could climb out your vehicle, get on top of your vehicle, and you could like jump to different cars and stuff. So it was sort of over the top but realistic sort of gameplay, if you get what I mean, and compared to the other games anyway. And it sort of set the way for what Just Cause was really, just an over the top but realistic sandbox game. And it went down really well. I had quite a lot of good reviews from it, and it obviously brought in a lot of money back then, and obviously that made Just Cause 2, which came out in 2010. So it was obviously a 4-year spell where they didn't make them. I presume Avalanche was making other things at the time, and that's why they didn't bring them out as frequent as other game series like Assassin's Creed and that does. And yeah, obviously Just Cause 2 was the best reception for the Just Cause series. It got a 9 out of 10 on Steam, and it got 90% thumbs up rating on Metacritic. So yeah, they did what Just Cause 1, but they added even more to it to make it even more of a over-the-top sandbox, should we say. So they added the grappling hook, which gave you different ways of doing things. So you can get to places faster, you could grapple hook people to cars and stuff. That was really cool. I always remember you could always grapple hook onto the bottom of helicopters and stuff, and the destruction was great fun in that game. And I'd say that title felt like a AAA title when it came out. I remember picking it up roughly after launch, and I had great fun with it. The only negative I could have said was just because I was young back then, that I always found it odd that you sort of had to go back to the same place to do the mission, even though you sort of just done a mission there. So there's so yeah, sort of back at them time I was sort of playing Saints Row 2, GTA 4, and in them open world games you'd go to different places to do missions, and so that was strange. And yeah, I felt like I was going to have to go do the same mission even though it wasn't the same mission. So I guess they could have made that clearer, but apart from that, it was a great fun game. Quite long, and yeah, there's side activities and stuff you could do once you completed the game, or once you during the game, and you could liberate outposts and stuff. Which obviously liberating outposts back then was obviously a new feature. Obviously a lot of games have it now. But that was a new cool thing really, and yeah, it was a great game. From Just Cause 2, we got Just Cause 3, which was in 2015. So obviously that was the first Just Cause on, back then it would have been next-gen consoles, new PS4, Xbox One. Just Cause 3 got average, should we say. I think it was at a 6 out of 10 on Steam. It was like sort of Just Cause 2.5, shall we say. So obviously they used the obviously the PS4, the Xbox One, the extra features the previous generation console didn't have, so they could obviously create a bigger, more vast world, obviously more destruction, different parts of the grappling hook you could change, so you'd have different features there, and yeah, they sort of just. It's a tough one really because they didn't do a massive lot from 2 to 3, and that's sort of why it dropped off. It was lacking, obviously, definitely multiplayer. It had no multiplayer, and obviously from that leap, sort of everything was sort of this sort of generation of consoles was more like a social version of the console, really, where everything was online, everything had multiplayer, or it had co-op and stuff. And Just Cause was a game it didn't have. And when you have games like GTA 5 having multiplayer, you had like Saints Row 3 and 4 having multiplayer at the time, and it was just a downer really, because I think it is a big requested feature and it was just never added. I believe PC had a mod that they added to it, but obviously it wasn't an official Avalanche Studios update to the game, and which obviously I think was quite fun apparently. I had a lot of good things about that mod, so yeah, feel free to try it out. But apart from that, they didn't really add a lot from 3 to 4, and yeah, it was a shame really. So going from 3 went to Just Cause 4, which was released in, I want to say, 2017, and that was probably one of the poorly received games from the Just Cause series, which is funny because you'd think, wasn't in the fourth installment, they'd got everything right by now, and they'd be making leaps to be a bigger series than what it was. Especially, I said previously that Just Cause 2 was only a AAA feeling game, and I definitely feel like Just Cause 3 and 4 did drop player base, and it did feel more AA rather than AAA, and it was a shame because that could easily be a big seller every few years or whatever they want to release the games. So yeah, Just Cause 4, they added even more abilities with the grappling hook. So you could have loadouts of the grappling hook now, so you'd have multiple features you have to use at once. I personally feel they complicated that a bit too much. You'd have like, well, for instance, there's a cool feature where you could put fire balloons onto your tank. You could obviously lift your tank up and then fly it along and fly like a helicopter, but obviously a tank flying around, which was cool. But they sort of had different size, sort of like a medium height one, a low height one, or like a high height one, and it's just like, you don't need to complicate fun things like that really. Just have it as one and just go with that. You don't need to add all these different things that complicate, because the loadout wasn't the most clear way of having it as such. And yeah, I wouldn't say I put a downer on the game, but it was definitely a thing that they didn't need to complicate. Obviously add different things to it. Maybe you could have had just like customization to how it looked on your arm or something, but I think they sort of just went too far, the grappling hook then. But nevertheless, you had that. You had Just Cause 4 brought in the weather system where you could have sort of like tornadoes, sandstorms, and obviously the world's obviously destructible, so you could have like cars flying up, fences, parts of liberation posts, and that was a really cool feature. That was the highlight of Just Cause 4 really. That was sort of a selling point. Obviously it's new for a sandbox game, or like a sandbox open world game, so it was the first of its kind really. So that was really cool. But all that was put on a damper by performance at launch. Yeah, the performance at launch was pretty poor. It was very framey on PS4 Pro at the time and the Xbox One X, I would say. Obviously they can run 4K and whatnot, but the graphics side of the game was really poor. Textures weren't great. There's a lot of popping, and I remember them actually updating the game. It was quite long after launch. I think there's a lot of big updates after launch to like fix all the bugs and stuff. And then I want to say it was about 5-6 months after launch or more where they actually added a patch in where they improved the visuals of the game, which made a big difference. But if you go and play it now, it looks awful. Especially the HDR. I had to turn HDR off, as I'm even using an OLED TV, so you'd think HDR would look great on that, but you had to actually turn the HDR off that game because it just whitened it out and it looked awful. I'm not sure what components go into making a good HDR game, but I didn't have it. And yeah, it was a bigger leap. Just Cause 2, Just Cause 3 was a smaller leap, and obviously Just Cause 3 to 4 was a bigger leap in terms of what was in the game. But again, they've made the world bigger but emptier, I'd like to say, which is not always a good thing, because you always want the game to be packed in with content. And it was it just turned into like a repetitiveness, because there was less going here, doing main mission for this person, maybe go and do something for this person, or like a faction or something. It was more you going to go liberate this part of the... So obviously the map's split into different segments. There's probably about 20 plus segments, I believe. And there was... so you go here to go liberate this one. And then once you took this one out, the commando would come out. You go kill the commando, and then you've took over this area. And then your faction, obviously, is in this area. And then you go to different parts of the map doing the same thing, causing damage. And it was repetitive. And you can say it was fun for the first few, but then, yeah, it got boring. The map was... I mean, there's a lot of tools to navigate the map, but it doesn't need to be that big. Yeah, a lot of it did look the same as well. I mean, it was a nice island, don't get me wrong, it's like a tropical island. Obviously, it was the first game to have different terrains, so you sort of have your greenery sort of fields area, and then you'd have, or like your urban sort of place, then you'd have like your desert and stuff, jungle. So that's cool to have all the different terrains, but then, yeah, you've seen that in sort of like Ghost Recon Breakpoint and that, where they just create a big world of different terrains, and it just feels empty, really. It's best to build a more condensed world and just pack it with content and that. But yeah, apart from that, it also obviously didn't have multiplayer either. So it's the fourth game in the series without multiplayer, and there's so many crazy things you could do in Just Cause 4 that you couldn't do in your previous Just Cause, where it'd just be a lot more fun to have a friend to do it with, really. Even like a lobby of like 16 players or something, and have like different team deathmatch modes, or who can cause the most destructions, like a in-world event or something. And yeah, it's just another game that didn't really reach the heights of what it should have. And then from Just Cause 4, we obviously don't know anything about Just Cause 5. Typically, it's not about a... don't know. It depends what Avalanche are working on, really, because it's just different times. Sometimes it's like a 5-year period. Sometimes it's like a 4-year period. Just Cause 3 to 4 was like a 2-year period, I believe. 2-3 year period. So obviously it just depends if they've moved on to something else. They're giving this series a break. Hopefully they're just reworking the whole game, really, mixing it up to what we're used to and creating something more special that would obviously bring in more of a player base than the previous ones have. But yeah, I remember actually going to Eurogamer in 2018, 2017. Could have been 2017. Went to Eurogamer and saw Just Cause 4, and there's like a big live demo on a massive screen. And it was obviously they were replaying. It was like every hour, every 2 hours, they'd do the same demo. Obviously, it wasn't a live demo, and the guy would be talking you through the world of Solis and showing you different features in the game and that. And it looked good back then. I presume they were playing on like a high-end PC or something, but they'd give you like a free hat if you went and watched. So I wasn't sure if that was a thing just to encourage people to go watch it, which obviously it did because it was a freebie. And a lot of games give you freebies then to go encourage you to try their game out and whatnot. But I feel like it was a way of getting more people to come look at the game because they know the player base and whatnot is not a huge game, and this was a way to bring people in. So I presume they would have done that at different places like E3 and stuff, and it clearly didn't work. But I mean, they'll learn from that hopefully, and they'll add multiplayer and maybe different side missions and more interesting things to go explore and whatnot. Yeah, hopefully this series can be rejuvenated, and hopefully one day compete with something like GTA or something, which was always the hope back then, in a more non-realistic way, should we say. But yeah, that's Just Cause, really. But yeah, leave a comment in which game series you'd like to discuss next. We can go from anything from like Fable, Gears, Uncharted, Assassin's Creed. Even if you want to do just a series based on like one game or two games in the series itself, anything like that really, and I'll happily do a video on that in next week. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a nice rest of your week, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.